and we are back in the meeting. I just wanted the record to reflect that Mr. Moreno is now present. Okay, item number 6, citizens to be heard. Citizens to be heard, 30-minute limit, 5-minute maximum per speaker. Citizens are offered an opportunity to address the board without prior approval. The board, however, will not comment or engage in discussion. Presentation shall be informative only. No board action will be taken. The topics addressed shall be limited to those specifically included on the board's agenda and/or school district related. Presentation shall not include statements which may be considered defamatory, inflammatory, and are threatening against a person or the district. And speakers shall not mention students' names unless naming your own child, nor address a complaint against a district employee or officer. Such complaints will be handled through the guidelines set out in district policy. At all other times, members of the public shall not enter into any discussion or debate on matters being considered by the board. First up, we have Mr. Espanza.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Superintendent Madrigal. I'd like to request the resignation of the Superintendent Madrigal to begin with. As far as the statement, on October 8th, 2015, I invoked my son's Fifth Amendment right to Maricela Madrigal Passmore in the discussion at the school along with my wife. And I questioned my son without my presence while under custodial care of the school district. On May 10th, 11th, I also repeated that to the majority of school board members sitting here, including Mr. Gundis, Mr. Quesada, Mr. Moreno, Ms. Cáceres, which is not here, and on May 13th, May 16th, Mr. Mancha acknowledged that he received my message on May 13th. I reported that to Mr. Madrigal in his office.
If I may. These are grievances.
No, there are no present grievances on this issue. There are no present grievances on this issue.
The speaker is addressing individuals at this meeting.
I'm making a statement.
At this meeting. The issues he's addressing have been and or are still under grievances that are pending with the district. Again,
No, they're not.
we've discussed this issue before. I'm not his lawyer, but I recommend that whatever the grievance process is invoked, be followed. It's inherently unfair.
Can you stop my clock?
Mr. Sparta, have you filed a grievance?
Yes, Mr. Quesada, I filed a police report on May 30th also, and that was not investigated. I had filed my grievances. They were declined by Ms. Passmore.
And so you filed a grievance during the process of that? Right now?
No, there are no grievances on Fifth Amendment violations at this time other than one that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about right now. There are no present grievances with what I'm talking about right now.
Mr. Sparta, I'm gonna let you move forward, but I'm gonna ask you to refrain from naming any school board members or
Yes.
just don't use any names if you appreciate it, if you can, please.
As far as school board members,
School board members, employees, it's clearly stated in the agenda and the rules. Please continue.
okay, pursuant to the U.S. Department of Education Office of Civil Rights, I am afforded the right to do so. Anyone here would decline me that right. Okay.
You have 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
On September 30th, 2016, actually, there's 2 school board meetings where I addressed invoked my son's Fifth Amendment rights, and I also asked the school board to exercise due diligence in protecting my son's constitutional rights and also all the students in the school district. On September 30th, my son was asked to give up his phone. They called me on the phone and asked to confiscate my phone and put it in the school locker, and I declined. When I went to the school, my wife, my son, and I were confined in a small room with the SRO present, with his hand in his sidearm. I reported a Fifth Amendment violation by the vice principal against my son with the SRO present, the vice principal, and the counselor. All 3 were present. He gave me a case number. He gave me the wrong case number. I still got a copy of the report here. Failed to investigate. School district failed. That statement, my son actually made a statement falsely against 2 students, and that was taken in by the vice principal at the time. She is still vice principal. My son made a false statement and she took it. Why is it a false statement? Because during that incident, my son was on his way home in the vehicle. He was not even on the property when that incident happened. And that vice principal still took his statement. And that's why I filed this report, and that's why I asked all of y'all, not the two new members, to protect my son's constitutional right. Because I was afraid that they would take his statement wrongfully or that he would be accused. And I filed the report, I did. I filed a grievance, they were declined. Police report, not investigated. I was not called. No one called me, no one called my son to ask us if his Fifth Amendment rights were violated. Those two students were punished using my son's false statement.
You have 30 seconds, Mr. Sparks.
Again, I ask for a resignation, Mr. Madrigal.
Next, thank you, Mr. Sparks. Next, we have Ms. Josie Scout.
Good evening, Mr. Quezada, school board members, Mr. Madrigal, cabinet, staff, and community. I would like to address agenda item 10D that is on the closed session agenda. It involves the sale of 100 acres of land inside of Loop 410 and west of Roosevelt Avenue. This section of land has been sitting for at least well over 10 years, developing no source of income for the district. I think it is pretty clear that HISD has only one way to develop a decent and continuing income for this acreage, and that is to let a developer build homes. That will guarantee not only the income we receive from the sale of the acreage, but also continued income from ADA as families move into the homes, plus continued tax revenue. The idea brought forward previously regarding the school district retaining acreage for another school when and if that is necessary gives us a safeguard of having that acreage should we find it necessary to build another school. The idea has been mentioned that we should wait. Wait for what? HED has already purchased land near our acreage. Some may see that as a plus, but in all actuality, who would want to put up with the traffic from a group of commercial businesses? If we sell this for commercial purposes, we are losing out on additional ADA for our school district. We are done if we do that. Any student growth is over. I'm happy to see we are possibly going to try something, to do something with this 100 acres. Please make sure this item moves forward before it is too late for us to take care of HISD's future. One last thing I would like to comment on. I have noticed that there are some board members who have failed to attend any of our district events. That is a true disappointment to your constituents. I do understand you cannot attend every event, but when you attend no events, you just let everyone know how interested you are in being a school board member. Hopefully, you can all begin to attend future events. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scout. Next up, we have Ms. Gina Castaneda.
Ready, set, go. Good evening, board members, superintendent, staff, community. There's several items that I want to just not discuss, but let you know. On Thursday, November the 2nd, board members and the superintendent had a board training session. It was posted as an item, as agenda 2 item in open session, and then also in item 3 under closed session. As some of you might know, I was there. And in checking with TEA, board training sessions should be held in open meetings. You're not talking about property, you are in training. You're not talking about personnel, you are in training. I don't think you understand the word training. So there has been As of this afternoon, I filed against TEA and with the Attorney General and all entities a violation of an open meeting. Under that Open Meeting Act, under Chapter 551, and I'll leave it as 551 so y'all can check and investigate what I am looking at. But it is under Chapter 551. If you're trying to build transparency, you majorly failed. And you failed the district, you failed the community, you failed to everyone. Now, on another item, and that's on item 10D. Again, why is it being done in closed session? Is it land that you're going to be discussing? No, you're not discussing land. You're discussing a proposal for solicitation. That is done in open meetings, not in closed meetings, in open meetings. If anything happens tonight, there will be another complaint filed because you're asking for bids and solicitation. As I remember correctly, if you go back to last month's meeting, minutes of that meeting, what was it for?
You have 2 minutes.
What was it for? It was for assessment and evaluation and of the value of that land. It was not to get a bid for solicitation. If any action is taken, again, there will be more complaints filed. Now, go back, board members, and you need to look. How many of you have filed a conflict of interest on anything? How many have filed? Not very many of you. How many have filed your political campaign reports? I know who you are, the ones that have and the ones that haven't. We're watching, and we're watching very closely. I know many of you aspire to be an elected official in another level. You need to be careful. Because if you can't handle school board, you can't handle another elected office. I'm being serious. It's not a talk, and it's not a rumor. Take it seriously. Every one of you up in that dais needs to take it seriously. And it's not a laughing matter, because at the end, the only one that's getting hurt is you and the district. And you were not elected to do that. So, look up your policies, because I've got them here. And I want y'all to do some homework, because I have. You gotta look at your policies, and you better study them, and you better follow them.
Thank you, Ms. Castaneda. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Castaneda. Moving forward, number 7, information discussion. 7A, Finance Committee report, Mr. Juan Mancha.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Hernandez, I'm going to pass it over to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank
very
you,
much.
sir.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, the Finance Committee meeting was held on November 1st, 2017. Meeting was called to order at 5 p.m. by Mr. Juan Mancha, chairperson. Committee members present was Ricardo Moreno and Carlos Quesada. Staff members present, Mr. Maligal, superintendent, myself. Guest members present, Lydia Gibson from Linebarger, Gogan, Blair, and Sampson. Renee Gonzalez of Garza Gonzalez and Associates, and Ruben Martinez of Garza Gonzalez and Associates. The first item discussed was the hearing and discussion of the summary of delinquent tax collection report for July 2016 through June 2017. The minutes of the Finance Committee begin on page 21. They're very lengthy, but I'll try to summarize them. Ms. Gibson from Weinbarger made a presentation of the year-end summary of delinquent tax collection activities and covered an executive summary of that report. The next agenda item is the report itself that will be presented to the full board and to the community. So I'll bypass the detail of the minutes listed here. However, one important item that was discussed was Ms. Gibson and her colleagues providing discussion or new information on new legislation that's coming out regarding the transferring of property upon death without being subject to will of probate. This new process is called deed upon death. It was something that appeared to be very beneficial for members of our community. Again, as I said, the next agenda item, Ms. Gibson will cover the report and the executive summary in more detail. The next item on the Finance Committee agenda item was the discussion of the comprehensive annual financial report and the report of conduct. Mr. Gonzalez and Ruben Martinez, Garza Gonzalez made a presentation, provided an audit summary of the audit for the year ending 2017. Of significance was that the district received a clean opinion, no material weaknesses in internal controls, and met all compliance requirements of its major grant programs. Again, the district achieved a low-risk auditee, as a low-risk auditee under the grant compliance requirements. The next item in the report was discussion of the general fund balance, which ended at $56.3 million, a decrease of $1.6 million. Of that amount, 48.4 was unassigned, or 85.8% of the total fund balance. This represented 122 days of operations. Also included within the $56 million was $3.2 million set aside for future facility needs or one-time initiatives. Included additional was $3.1 million for the child nutrition fund balance, of which benefit that program. The next item covered by the auditors, Mr. Gonzalez, Mr. Martinez, was the statement of revenues and expenditures budget to actual. Budget expenditures totaled $152.1 million. Actual expenditures were $144.7 million. Expenditures that exceed appropriations were under the guidance of counseling, extracurricular activities, and security monitoring services. The reason for those differences, as explained by staff, was the difficulty of projecting final on-behalf payments made by the state directly into the TRS system, but yet must be reflected in the district's financial statements. The next item covered was the national letter, which pointed out that they encountered no difficulties in dealing with management, pointing out other items that would strengthen internal controls that covered the areas of the procurement process, internal service fund, and data process. Other immaterial instances were provided that covered the K and P's reporting. Also disclosed was that prior year findings, there were no findings for the first time in as many years in student activity funds, meaning that our campuses are following the internal control procedures as required by the district and the auditors. Also, for the first, in addition, our district's bank accounts were fully collateralized, and all outstanding checks were properly remitted to the comptroller's office. The next item discussed was the financial integrity rating system, which was presented this evening, so I'll bypass the details, but the narrative is there in your minutes. The next item, item number 4, was the investment report for the periods ending June 30th, 2017 and September 30th, 2017. As of September 30th, the district had $62.8 million in investments under the general fund, $7.8 million in debt service, $35.8 million in capital projects, and $8.9 million in the settlement fund, for a grand total of $115.3 million. All investments met the CDA legal. Investment yields varying from 0.92% to 1.45%. The last item discussed was the budget report for the period quarter ending September 30th, 2017. This is the first quarterly report that provided many of the campuses and departments were at the point where they need to be at this point of the year. The next quarterly report will discuss additional information regarding the district's revenues. The meeting was adjourned at 6:35 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Any questions or comments, Mr. Mancha, on any of this? Okay, moving forward to 7D, delinquent tax collection report for the periods of July 2016 to June 2017. Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, as just mentioned in the minutes, Ms. Lydia Gibson from Line Barber will be discussing and providing a brief presentation of our delinquent tax collection report for the periods of July 2016 through June 2017. The report begins in your board book on page 126. Ms. Gibson.
Thank you. Thank you to the superintendent and to the board for having us here. Yes, we did present a very detailed report at the Finance Committee meeting. And so the highlights that I have to give you that are in your executive summary are that for the reporting period from July to June, $1,174,779 were collected for the district in delinquent property taxes that were owed. I know if I brought a big check, I would clap, right? But anyway, and then what we also really talked about, and I'd like to point out for those that were not here, on page 136 of your board book, is a status of delinquent tax portfolio. And although there's $5 million in the pool owed to you, approximately 48% of that are accounts that we cannot collect at this time. And the largest portion of that, 37.8%, are in over 65 deferral or over 65 exemption. And so part of what we do out of service to the district is make sure that folks are aware of the exemptions and the deferrals that are available to them. And we're available to speak and present at different community events if you so need us. Mr. Hernandez mentioned one of the items that we brought to the board's attention is that there is a deed upon death that was passed by the legislature actually 2 years ago, but clarified this last session, that will help people that they can file something in the county clerk's office. There's